You're listening to Design Between the Lines, the only design and home furnishings podcast where we talk with the movers and shakers, industry innovators, and lifetime legends of the home furnishings industry. It's here that I get a chance to sit and chat with the influencers shaping the industry into what it is today. This episode of Design Between the Lines is supported by the High Point Arts Council and Arts Greensboro, a division of the designated county partner with funding from the North Carolina Arts Council. When it comes to design, it's hard to understate the influence of those who not only imagine, but who are able to use their hands and bring visions to life. Today, I have the privilege to talk with two talented maker designers who bring such creative zest and craftsmanship to our industry. Joining me is Jeremy Kamiya, an industry veteran who is an award-winning maker designer and owner of Kamiya Furniture. His work has been featured in an array of publications such as Business of Home, Lux, Form Magazine, and Interior Design Magazine. Sitting next to him is Caleb Collins, an up-and-coming artist who recently launched his design business, I Am New Culture, and unveiled his first furniture piece right here in High Point, North Carolina. Jeremy, Caleb, welcome. Welcome to Design Between the Lines.
Thanks for having us. It's a pleasure.
Yes,
Absolutely great to have you here today, and two of the finest gentlemen you ever want to meet, so I'm happy to have you on board here. I'm going to start with just a general question, and whoever wants to fall in first. I'm going to say just what attracted you, I'll start with Caleb, what attracted you to the design industry, the maker industry, this whole thing called home furnishings?
So being originally from High Point pretty much gave me like my first inspiration that I can like date back to, right? Excuse me. And it kind of was one of the things that happened like indirectly, just being here and not realizing how much influence it had on me until I really started thinking about like what I wanted to do in my life. Mm-hmm. And so I always came back to like designing products and coming up with different little inventions, trying to find ways to do things easier. Mm-hmm. And every time I would design a product, it would always have to do something with furniture. So like around 2011, 2012, I got real serious with designing products, finding out how to do it and everything of that nature. And then around 2012, 2013, that's where furniture really started like being the focus, because I realized in order for my products to be able to flourish the way I want them to, they had to like coexist with furniture. Mm-hmm. So instead of partnering up and finding all these things, I decided to design it myself. And so, since 2013, I've just been, trying to learn as much as I could, because I didn't have the educational background of, having like a design degree or having some type of academy to attend to really teach me those skills. So it's really been just me going and asking questions and, having mentors and trying to learn as much as I could. And, now I'm just blessed to be here, blessed to be around, great people, great company, great guidance that's, allowed me to feel comfortable.
I'm going to come back to one of your comments in a minute. Jeremy, what got you into this business?
So the design business is what you're asking.
Yes. Yeah. And maker, really, if you will.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I just have a passion for creativity. I think that we're all created beings, and I think that kind of a shadow that's left on us as created beings is the desire to create and express ourselves. Mm-hmm. So I guess my background starting in college was to find a creative outlet, and that was photography at that time, just to pick one and get rolling. After I graduated from Appalachian State University, I got into graphic design. And I stayed in that field for, I don't know, well, I'm kind of still in it, but I concentrated on that maybe for 15 years or so. Mm-hmm. I'm doing freelance work, et cetera. And then I got married, met my wife. She's from Bali, Indonesia. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to find a business that would connect Bali and we'll connect our families together and give us an opportunity to fly back and forth if successful. Uh-huh. So we picked furniture. Because there's a lot of beautiful furniture in Bali. So we bought some furniture, rented a showroom, filled up a container, and went for it. And what would happen, what we would notice is that people would come into the showroom and they would say, "Oh, this is beautiful. Do you make it?" And, after I just got tired of saying no after, so many of those questions.
Yeah.
And frankly, every once in a while I'd have to go out and repair a crack or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of got to a point where I thought to myself, well, if I'm fixing other people's mistakes, that's not enjoyable. I'd rather fix my own mistakes.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that maybe I can just give this a shot. So instead of getting more inventory from Bali, and we decided to invest some money into just tools, so I would start tearing down the tables that we imported and experimenting there. And that is, I don't know, that's exactly how I got into the furniture industry. It was not on my radar to create furniture, but I had a knack for it, and I really enjoyed it. And I was given an invitation to show at High Point Market with a group called Mill Collective, and actually at Congdon Yards, and that was very exciting. I thought that was going to be my big break. Of course, it takes years, to do that, but it put High Point on my radar, and it put the passion of furniture. It really, I guess, solidified my passion for furniture, and then meeting interior designers and then the community around here. So we committed to move to High Point and continue making. So that's what I do now. I make furniture out of my garage, and every High Point Market I get out and I try and meet as many people as I can to and join the party, frankly, because it's fun.
Yeah. I was going to say, so now sawdust is in both your bloodstreams. There you go.
Right.
You can't get rid of it. It never goes away now. I was going to say, Caleb mentioned earlier about mentors. So tell me a little bit of a couple of mentors that have meant something to you.
Yeah, so definitely just in the short terms, I know, like you mentioned, Dr. Brow Henderson Hatch, I know he's been able to give me a lot of insight. I definitely, Pablo, what's his last name? It was just slipped out my head, but definitely Pablo has given me a lot. Pablo Webster.
Okay.
Pablo Webster has definitely been, a mentor, giving me a lot of guidance, in this. And even, let me see, I know I have Ingrid Bullock. It's a young lady, well, not a young lady, she's older than me, but of course, but it's a very, very great woman who pretty much allowed me to understand what was necessary, not just with getting into design and things of that nature, but just business in general. And so definitely have to, give her a shout out. And I know it's kind of weird, but my parents, definitely my parents.
Not that word.
Yeah. But, because it's a mentor, usually looking for something outside of family, something that's, you don't really have access to
for
daily,
a long time. You got up and you saw him every morning. So that right there mentoring me, but just really mentoring me as far as like believing in myself, showing me that through example, and just living that. And so, those are some of the few that I really feel like, played a very, important factor into like this part of my career. Well, you mentioned
really,
Dr. Brow Henderson Hatch, and he's been on our show recently. So tell me a little bit about your experience with working with Thrive.
Thrive, yes.
Yeah,
and
Thrive
so
High Point.
Thrive High Point was definitely a lifesaver. And I say that because it was at a time to where, I was becoming restless, just really searching, high and low, trying to find those resources to allow me to have that proper, entrance into this industry. And, I was going around trying to find, all the type of resources, all the type of assistance that I could, and literally stumbled across the generators, like Congdon Yards, the generators, Thrive, all in the same day. And I was looking straight every single day for 2 weeks, like 2 weeks straight. Every single day I was going out trying to find manufacturers, just trying to find resources, like on foot, going to driving places, parking downtown High Point, just walking around, just asking, hey, can you make this? Or, what type of assistance do I need to get this done?
Right,
like as far as my designs and stuff and things.
Mm-hmm.
And so the last place I stumbled across was Congdon Yards, and, there, Justin Stabb was there and let me in. And so just to run down there, it was like I came there right on time. The next day was a grand opening. Came back to the grand opening. There was Cyril Jefferson. good friend of mine. We graduated high school together. Very good guy, very good friend, pretty much family. And right there in the corner was Miss Lynn Mitchell. And Sarah was asking me, it's been a long time since I've been back from California. First time you've seen me in years. It's like getting a rundown of what I was doing, let him know. And he was like, we have something that's made exactly for you. And I was like, what you mean? From there, introduced me to this Miss Lynn Mitchell. A couple of days later, introduced to Dr. Brow Henderson Hatch. And they have literally been the help, the answer prayer from God as far as getting me aligned and getting me ready and getting me prepared for any opportunity to come, as far as business, as far as confidence, as far as just going out there and believing and knowing the path to take and what I'm doing. So
awesome. That's great.
Definitely.
Thank you for that. I appreciate
Yes.
filling in that. Inspirations, mentors along your pathway to where you are now. What about you, Jeremy?
Well, I think my biggest inspiration or mentor has been YouTube, to be honest. I didn't know how to cut things safely or make furniture or woodwork, which is mostly my focus. Well, mostly my focus in my furniture.
Right.
So I would say that my mentors were all on a computer screen, and yeah.
Okay.
I can stop there.
Well, yeah, no, obviously you're also graphically sensitive. So you are at heart a graphic artist, and in looking at your pieces, Jeremy, highly compliment. I don't mean to dump compliments all over you, but they are amazing, and there's a look of them that almost looks like they grew that way. You see something in your pieces that you bring out, and that's a remarkable vision that many don't have.
Well, yeah, thanks. When I'm designing a piece, I'm really looking more towards form first. So it just needs to look right for me form wise. So I'm really focused on form, and then functionality will come later, but it's really secondary. So yeah, I think that those skills really translate.
Yeah. And I can piggyback off
I was
that.
going to say,
YouTube.
yeah, because we're talking about, your approach to design. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Caleb.
YouTube University. That's where the majority of my degrees have been received from. So I can definitely, attest to that. Has allowed me to really gain the confidence, definitely gain the knowledge. YouTube has definitely played a big factor. Definitely helped me a lot.
Well
Yeah.
put. And I'm not alone. You're not alone. I've used YouTube for training myself to do things I never thought I could do before. So I'm with you. We were just talking about your approach to design and how you look at things and where you coming up with your ideas and stuff. Is there something like, are you trying to tell a story with your designs? I mean, I'll flip it back to Jeremy, but I have a feeling he might be doing that with his designs.
Yeah, I think you're always trying to tell a story with anything that you create, whether you're a cook in the kitchen or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the story that I'm trying to tell is one of simplicity, not overdoing it, trying to take away things that are unnecessary. So that's one of my stories. And another part of my story is the word fun. So I think that my pieces, I'm always trying to find a way to explore or to put some ounce or pound of fun in my pieces, maybe something unexpected. I always love it whenever the piece is inviting enough to bring someone in, and then there's also a payoff. Maybe you open a drawer and you see something completely unexpected. So I think that really, you want to create an unforgettable moment if possible. So that, off the top of my head, that's one thing.
That's well put, Jeremy. Thank you for that. I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about, Caleb, your I am new culture, and I saw 3 words when I looked at the about page of your website: fearless, innovative, progressive. Does that relate to what how you create? And I'm looking at your most recent piece we unveiled at Congdon Yards. Beautiful upholstery piece. What would you name that? Is that a lounge piece? Is it because it does move? It's. Did you give it a name?
Yes. So that one is actually the Kalo, and it's a nickname that's a family nickname. This came from my grandpa. He used to just call me that, ever since I was youngin'. So that just kind of stuck with me. But yeah, it is. It's a lounge. It's a lounge chair, but it's actually the first piece, the signature piece to a lounge collection.
Great.
That I'm making. Yeah. And so, yeah, but that is those 3 words, just fearless, just definitely looking into innovation and, having the innovation allow us to progress. All those things are definitely, looked upon when I create, design, when I look at life. So yeah, those are definitely something that is definitely something I feel like I look or I naturally do. And so when I tried to break down what it was that I felt like, or the story that I feel like I was trying to tell, I feel like those 3 words were the best way to sum it up. So yes, it is, a lounge collection. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to, give this side of the story. I wanted to tell this side of the story from being inspired, but feeling like I was always inspired from the outside, going to participate or going to, just involve myself, but really feeling like I wasn't considered when the design was made. And so as far as like going into lounge areas and hanging out, I would always find myself being like, hey man, why don't we have a chair we can do like this? Or why don't we have something we can do like that? And when it, circled back around, when I came to start developing products and everything of that nature, it all just aligned. And it was like the story I wanted to tell was from this side, where we felt like Jeremy said, we just make it simple, just give us what we need and make it fun, make it feel like you had us in mind, the actual consumer, the actual person who's using it when you made this product. So that's kind of what I try to do and what I go into when I think about my design.
Okay, I'm going to repeat something that someone once told me in a previous podcast, that we're not really in the furniture business. We're in the happiness business.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to invest in a design that either of you gentlemen make as a consumer, you want to be happy with it, first of all. You certainly want it to look great in your house and function the way you want it to function. And every time you come home, it's going to make you happy. So I guess we're in the happiness business, aren't we?
Yeah. If at all possible, you want to surround yourself by people and environments that you love and that you feel good in. So absolutely. And can I speak to the inspiration piece one more time? Because you reminded me of something. So in my work, I don't use nails or screws or stains. So there's what I would call a purist approach, but that comes from these ancient Asian temples that are still standing today that don't use metal hardware, fasteners. They just go together like a puzzle. And that always compelled me. And that's also an element of fun, putting something together like Legos or again, a puzzle, just seeing things fit together and go together neatly and precisely. So I needed to mention that as well.
Oh, no, absolutely. While we're speaking to that, Jeremy, you have a very unique finish. You're not using, besides no nails, no screws, you're not using stains, and you're very conscious of our world and protecting it in terms of, not dumping things back into the environment that really are harmful. Tell me a little bit about this, because I know it involves something from Old England and some other, I think there's a wax final coat, and tell us a little bit, and you don't have VOCs you're putting in the atmosphere. So tell me a little bit of, in a short way, if you can, the process of how you complete your product with the surface finish.
Okay. Oh, well, first I'll speak briefly on why I do it. I do it because I want it to be as natural as possible. So I don't want to cover up, the beauty of nature with a stain. Sometimes that kind of, I don't get a lot of commissions sometimes I will not get a commission because I will not paint a piece or stain a piece, which is fine. That's completely cool. But that's just my approach. I want to be known for that natural approach. My process is simple. The product is Rubio monocoat, but it's like you say, a zero VOC product.
For those who don't know, VOCs is volatile organic compounds.
Thank you, because I wouldn't have even come up with that, to be honest. But it's basically an oil with a hardener in it. So it was originally meant to coat floors. So that's how durable it is. And then I finished that with a wax. I like a product called Renaissance wax. It's just a beautiful wax. It was developed by the British Museum, so I feel I want to use the best products that I can.
True.
So it's an archival wax, and it's the one thing, the real true reason I do it is because it is easy. I don't need to spray. I don't need a spray booth. All I need is the product and a rag, and I wipe it on. I think that it's also good for the customer because if the customer can easily like fix a key scratch, or over time, it's just easier for them. And that's another reason to not stain, because if you scratch a stained surface, then now you've got to, in order to finish it, repair the whole piece or restain the whole piece.
Oh yeah, exactly. It appears as though we're seeing a renaissance in the maker movement. I'm going to say renaissance. I think we're just feeling it's a growth. I mean, it's always been there. It's just kind of coming out into the open. Folks that design, like yourselves, design the product they also make because you know it inside and out. I'm going to go to Caleb on this. I mean, I know you launched a brand, I Am New Culture, with respect to the allure of being a maker, making your hands-on, making your own design that you came out of your own head. Why do you think people are so drawn to this generation that is here now and coming forward? They're so drawn to creators and creating themselves. It's sort of a simply more accessible now, maybe, or just why do you think that's happening out there these days?
A number of factors. I think one thing, kind of since we touched on it already, it's internet, YouTube, something like that, really showing you how possible a lot of these things are, because growing up, it was very vital for you to have like a role model, and that role model to kind of like relate with you in as many ways possible, just so you yourself could feel like you could do it. And so I feel like one thing with the internet is kind of giving people not necessarily role models, but it's giving people a lot of examples to see, put in front of their face to let them know like, hey, this is possible. It can be done. And these are all the avenues that you can go down now. And I think that's another thing too. Like a lot of people are starting to realize, oh, this is something that I can do. Because even with me, we were joking this weekend. I was with Cyril Jefferson, Marcus Gilchrist, who's, went to Andrews with us, professional retired NFL player. And he was telling his family that he was coming to market, or telling some of his friends. And the first thing that came out their mouth was like, you working at market? And we all bust out laughing, because that's what you usually find. Like that's actually very relevant for locals. Like any type of involvement we had with the furniture market was just to work. It wasn't being a designer. It wasn't trying to be a maker. It wasn't being involved, seeing like what's possible or what this thing even is. And so I feel like something like the internet really allows us to get out there and, see things and be able to have that interest. And then the internet coming back to that with places like YouTube. And then now you have more online education opportunities. And that's allowing people to go and like really try it out and say, you know what, let me try, and then seeing more and more representations of yourself. I feel like that too is allowing people to feel like, okay, maybe I can do it. And so that, like I said, that's a few factors, but we can go on and on and on.
Well, I was going to say, the one thing that is an effort going on here in our little city of High Point is to bring knowledge of our industry and all the community, all the possibilities of careers in this industry to young people who are here already. They see it, and as you said earlier, you're right, Caleb, they don't understand it. They see it going on. They don't know how it all works. They don't know, they see people on the street. Are those sales reps? Are those designers? What, are they heads of companies? What? And then they walk by the showroom windows and they're seeing product. And how does that happen? Where does it come from? So that sort of collaborative educational experience is now with Dr. Bryle Henderson Hatch and with who is on a previous episode, Raven Jefferson, and a lot of local Guilford County schools and other authorities are now getting together to try to enlarge the knowledge of our industry and expose young people in art classes, what have you, in local schools, to where we are right now. Because truthfully, and I think you guys would agree, if you walk up and down the street, we're aging out. We need to have young people come into our industry and soon, and be enthused and energetic and engaged with it. So maybe that's part of where the maker movement is starting to pop out. I mean, what do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm going to take a broader look.
Absolutely.
I think if you look at what we know about humanity, the history of humanity, we were designed to go out and hunt, fish, gather, work, to till the soil. We were given hands to use and given feet to use, and it's only been in recent decades or centuries where now most of our work is sitting down behind a computer or wherever.
Yeah.
And I think that I think just humanity is feeling a disconnect between what they were meant to do and then what society has kind of pushed us to do. So there's certainly probably a dissatisfaction. I imagine there's a deep dissatisfaction in going and checking into the office, being perhaps micromanaged by a boss, those sorts of things. Mm-hmm. So I think that is what's sparking this desire to kind of go back to the old ways, to use our hands. And yes, the technology like YouTube makes it possible. There are good things about technology. It allows us to be more independent. We can buy our own tools. We can market our own selves and try and get our own audience. So that's a good thing. I think I said it. I think I've already said it.
I noticed this. You have on your Instagram, Jeremy, where you got a really neat visit with Melissa Galt's VIP designer tour. It was this market, wasn't it?
Yes,
yeah.
and
they came to your house
too, yeah.
and to your garage where you work. And I noticed when the garage door was going up and you're shooting from the inside, there's an inspirational something written on the inside of the garage door. Is there not? Meaningful to you?
There is. That's something my wife wrote. She wrote on the garage because we were going over it, but it's a Bible verse, and I cannot quote it, but it basically says, "Be careful what you start, and be careful not to start something that you can't finish." And it's there for me to see. I guess it's there for a reason.
Yeah. Complete the thought, complete the ideas, very well put. Very well put. I just found it interesting. I couldn't make the picture go big enough, but I knew the verse. But anyway, okay. I'm going to say, Caleb, self-inspired young man. I'm telling you, besides using and having so many friends in the industry and so many surround you, you're doing clothing too. I mean, you're designing a lot of stuff. It's not, and I got fascinated by looking at your Instagram because you're paying homage to some current makers out there that and one past one that meant something to you. I'm thinking, looking through there, I saw Brian Boggs, I saw Jeremy's product, and due consideration given to them in the copy next to that, Eero Saarinen. I mean, goodness, that's incredible as well. It's kind, humble recognition of those who came before you and those you're inspired by currently. I know you both have met Brian Boggs, who lives up in Asheville, North Carolina, and what a giving person he is. And I think that comes, I see that in you all as well. I mean, the maker community is not just a bunch of people in silos, is it?
No, well, I wouldn't. Okay, we certainly sometimes work alone.
Sure.
But sometimes, that's a lot of times just needed in the creative process, right?
Yeah.
But I would not call that a silo. The maker community is incredibly open. We don't view things as, I don't think we view things as competition, right?
Yeah.
I certainly don't, because no customer is going to come to me and say, do my whole house. Right. They may say, can you make a table? And I'll
Yeah.
say, sure. And then, can you make chairs? And maybe I'll say, yeah, but this other person makes great chairs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm certainly not afraid to share, and it doesn't hurt me to help.
I don't
to
think
help
this
other
is
people.
a word, but I don't think it's inter-inspiration. It's when
Yeah.
I see you all get together at events like Innovation and Design from International Society of Furniture Designers this year and last, when I see you all get together and I watch you all talk with one another, shared ideas, shared experiences, collaborative nature of that conversation, I'm going, whether you are working alone in your own shop or not, there just is a thread. I don't know whether it's ethereal or what it is, but when you get together, it's like you've never been apart. You all are the same in that respect, and honor and respect each other's own talents and ideas. So compliments to that community. Maybe that's also part of what's intriguing to the consumers who follow people like yourselves.
Yeah, because
I'm
definitely,
thinking-
like I said, I don't see it as competition. I really see it as like a community, of people really looking to, share knowledge, really looking. And I really feel like the more I, get around people that I feel like really inspire me, or people I feel like are doing it a way that I would want to follow, they're willing, they're open, they're, they look forward to passing on that knowledge. And, that's, something where I felt like I wanted to kind of represent by posting, Jeremy and Brian and like artists of that nature, because it's like, yeah, I have different products. I do, because my company is a, design and product development company. So I design products and everything, but I focus on furniture. But like, I wanted to show like, hey, come here and look at these great artists as well. While you're coming here and admiring my work and admiring my mind, these are minds that I admire myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, using my platform to really be able to, properly, express or properly, I just went blank, but it's actually what I say, properly acknowledge true excellence.
Oh,
That's
excellent.
pretty much what we
Beautiful.
stand for with I Am New Culture. And so I wanted to use that platform to acknowledge the true excellence and, artists like Jeremy right here. And so, yeah, no competition. I really, felt welcome from the beginning, but I just didn't know how to make my entrance. So once I was able to get around Thrive and, them matching me up with all the connections I needed, and Cyril's been really, monumental in actually helping me get around the right people and, find that knowledge. Now I feel, comfortable and feel like I've been, accepted as somebody that's designing. But, yeah,
That's good.
I guess that's
So what's next for you? We just finished the April market today, and what's next for Caleb?
So my signature piece I want to kind of release as a representation for High Point, and their efforts in bringing manufacturing back here, and not just bringing it back here, but providing the resources and actually the intention behind doing so. And so with everything about my chair is High Point. From me, the designer being from High Point, the frame done down in the generators here at High Point, the fabrics from Leisure Fabrics here in High Point, and the upholstery from TN Furniture Inc., a company here in High Point. And so everything is, High Point from top to bottom. So I want to have a limited edition release with that. I want to make like 100 or so and pretty much have them here in High Point, just so people can know like, hey, we're serious. We're so serious that, this is a product that's, was produced by the actual resources that we're providing to show you how serious we are with making sure manufacturing is back boom here in High Point. So we're doing that. And then the next market, I have some things that I, would definitely want to collab with Jeremy, Justin, anybody who pretty much has any type of involvement, maybe use the generators or anything like that, and try to do something special for the fall market. So that's in the works right now.
Excellent.
And so, yeah, that's the future for me.
Great,
right
great. Good luck to you on that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Jeremy, what's next for Jeremy Kamiya?
Sure. Well, for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been in my garage using it as a sandbox to explore and create these unique, one-of-a-kind pieces. So I'll continue to do that, but I think I'm going to split my business up into maybe 3 divisions. So Kamiya Furniture will turn into Kamiya Garage, and that will be for those studio, one-of-a-kind pieces that take a lot of time, and that are well, they take a silly amount of time. Then I'm going to launch Kamiya House, and that will be more of to launch production, small-scale production pieces that are more accessible to the public. And I also will be doing some design work. So I recently signed a licensing agreement with Phillips Collection, and I'm super excited about that.
Oh, you should be. That's a great company. Congratulations.
It's an excellent company. Thanks. I love the people there, and they're giving me an opportunity to design some pieces that fit within their aesthetic, which I don't. I'm just really looking forward to. So yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of fun, speaking of what's their byline? Oh, every piece of conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to create more conversation.
Yes, that's a great.
Yes. Yeah. Together we will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, now I come to the part of the program that, and this is you speaking to folks who are listening, who may be students, young students who are looking for a direction, just hearing this for the first time. Oh my gosh, the furniture industry might be a place for me to develop a career or head towards, whether it's design or what it might be. And it could be someone who's we talked about this, in a rut and wants to do something else with their life and change their direction. I mean, what would be your advice to students or young professionals who are interested in becoming makers or getting into this industry? Maybe start with Caleb. What do you think? What would you tell them?
I would tell them to first believe in themselves, to focus on what it is that they, feel like they want to do. And then from there, research the resources that are out there. And then from there, go out and find it. Because that was actually the recipe that I used. That was the formula that I used. Believing in myself, looking at, okay, what do I want to do? Having a focus on that. And then from that focus, it allowed me to see what needed to be done. From there, research the actual resources that can help me get those things done. And then from there, even if I didn't find the exact resources, just having an idea that allowed me to have an idea and feel comfortable enough to go out and, seek those resources. And so once you do that, you just have to dive in and commit. And I feel like once you make up in your mind that this is something that you're going to do, the universe will just continue to gravitate everything towards you that is needed. And as long as you are properly prepared, you'll be able to, have everything that's meant for you and have a very, very pleasing entrance into the industry.
Well said, Caleb. Thank you very much, Caleb. Jeremy, thoughts?
Sure.
Advice?
Yeah. I think my advice for anyone entering or desiring to enter the furniture world or design world would be, well, if you just want to get your hands dirty and make things, and it doesn't matter what, I would align myself with a company, perhaps get a job with them for a couple of years, learn from what they're doing. Because they'll keep you busy, right?
Yes.
So that's valuable. If you're just trying to strike out and go independent first, then you have to have a lot of patience. You have to have a lot of grit, but it's going to take 5 years probably. So you set that as an expectation. I would also say, move to High Point. This is, if you're really into design and you want to connect with the interior design industry, then why not move to the place that 50,000 interior designers come twice a year. That I would attribute any recognition that I've gotten to my willingness and my wife's willingness to move to this beautiful town, which is also really cool off market because it's nice and chill. That's been a huge part of my success and my ability to be visible in the market and meet great people.
Speaking of that, Jeremy, I'm thinking, and we all have seen it, that in the last 5 to 6 years, a lot of young energy people have decided to either come here, or maybe they went to school in the area and they said, I'm going to stay here. Now that's not happened in the city of High Point in years. And now that's a big shift in how things are going on in the city, and the growth from within is happening from downtown out. I think we're all seeing that. And, I'm thinking I'm on the same vibe here that you're talking about, Jeremy. And I think you and I can count more than on a couple of hands all of the makers and people that brought companies here. I'm thinking Tom Varellen, and then several associates of his that came by way of a couple of other states. And then he said, you really should come to High Point. And they came from Europe. And I mean, and now growth from within. They energize people that are already here to have strength enough, mental and physical strength enough to start their own thing. Yeah. Am I right?
Right. And I'm going to say something that stuck with me. Whenever I first visited High Point as an exhibitor, a young exhibitor, I met a gentleman named Charles Simmons. And he said to me, if you want to be an actor, move to LA. And if you want to be in the furniture industry, move to High Point.
And we call Charles Seymour because that was his nickname, and all the way from high school on. And he also, another nickname for Charles is the mayor of Main Street in High Point, because I don't know a better cheerleader for this city all his life. So kudos to Charles. I think we all saw him around Market this year. He still gets around at his age. That's pretty good. You never know where he's going to show up. So on that note, and an homage to Charles, howdy to him. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time this morning. I really appreciate it, and your inspiration, your input. I can't say enough about more power to you. Keep it going. We want to see great things from Jeremy Kamiya and Kamiya Furniture, and from Caleb, and from it's funny, I look at this and it's IMNC, but
yeah,
I mean,
it's like that
which I think is a great website as well.
No,
but I want to see more coming from you,
yes,
and your company, and thanks again for your time today.
No, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Real pleasure.
It's been an honor. Thank you.
Okay. Design Between the Lines is produced by Element Studio with the International Society of Furniture Designers. We record in High Point, North Carolina. To find videos of these podcasts, be sure to subscribe to the International Society of Furniture Designers YouTube channel. To learn more about ISFD, visit isfd.org. And don't forget to subscribe to hear more industry stories of Design Between the Lines.